Welcome to the Art of Hobbyness. My name is Tam, and I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Erin Shimone.
Hey!
Today, we are very excited to welcome a very special guest. Her name is Devan. She's actually a long-term friend of mine. She was my college roommate. Very excited to pull her in because not only is she a millennial mom, but she's also someone who previously was a high-performance professional and has recently transitioned to being a stay-at-home mom. And so we're really excited to kind of talk to her today about kind of some of the journeys of and challenges that she had with self-care while she was a business professional mom, and then how that has maybe even changed or improved or got worse as she changed to a stay-at-home mom. So without further ado, Devan, welcome to the podcast.
Welcome, Devan.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Of course.
So excited to meet you and in person and talk to you. Heard a lot about you from Tam.
All good things, I'm sure.
Oh,
yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. I kept most of the college stuff edited for sure.
Yeah.
Good idea.
So let's talk a little bit, like if we can, let's get a little bit of an overview of kind of your transition right now. You were a professional teacher. You know, what grade did you teach? And kind of let's start to figure out, like, you know, flesh out what got you to transition into the stay-at-home mom.
Yeah, so I just finished my 10th year in the classroom.
Okay.
Wow. Somehow it's been 10 years already.
That's crazy.
I went to 3 different districts in that time. So I kind of like creeped closer and closer to home as I went. I did junior high and then 3rd grade. And then I went back to junior high. So this last one was 6th grade English. And I have 2 boys, 3 and a 1-year-old.
Oh, so you're in the thick of it.
Yes.
Yes.
There is not a lot of sleeping happening at my house. Baby Jack kept us up all night last night, actually. So he's just ready to party all the time. But yeah, teaching was just like kind of my identity. Mm-hmm. And so then becoming a mom, kind of had that like, you know, identity shift. I won't say a crisis yet. We'll get into that, but kind of an identity shift. And so I went back to work after I had Owen, my oldest, and, you know, it's a little crazy. It's your first. I had a great sitter that we would send him to. And then Jack. Oh, my sweet Jack boy. Jack was born out of state 6 weeks early. And since Jack entered this world so abruptly, my life has changed drastically.
For the better, obviously, but more chaotic, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yes. Love him dearly. He is a great final addition to our family. But it kind of like a background of like what went on last year. And this isn't by any means like an, oh, poor me. It's just kind of like this is what was going on. And maybe some people can kind of relate to it. So I had a preemie. Owen was not a preemie, so I'd never experienced this before. Preemies are no joke, you guys. They are, you know, they are hungry all the time, but their little bellies hurt. And so my husband and I went through a lot of no sleep, even more so than with when Owen was a newborn. And then I transitioned back to work, and then I had back issues. I ended up with a herniated disc in my back, and I went through I just graduated PT, physical therapy. So went through about a year of physical therapy, went through some injections, went through this and that. There was a point in time when I was teaching laying down on the couch because it was the only position that was not painful. And I had to figure something out. So that was kind of my like, something's got to give here. Something's got to change. So that's when my husband, Nick, and I kind of started talking like, can we do this? Can I stay home? Because I've got to take something off my plate. And it's not going to be my family. And it's, you know, so I remember talking to my boss and saying, you know, I'm not a good teacher right now. I'm not a good mom right now. And I'm not a good me right now. So I've got to take something away here. And ever since I made that decision official, a breath of fresh air for sure.
Oh, that's amazing. Wow. What a tough year for you. And so much you've gone through so much. Like just having a newborn and a toddler is hard enough, but to have those extra physical challenges, and obviously being a working mom is so hard. So amazing. I can just tell, like, as soon as you said that, even like that, you can tell your mental shift, like talking from where you were to where you are now. So that's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I agree. And you even kind of pointed out how, like, those really are like the biggest challenges that face our generation right now is work, motherhood, and personal life, like your own personal health, right? And you literally were met with that crisis. And what a difficult decision, because you've worked for 10 years building what you said was your identity to make sure
well, more than that, right? Because you went to school before that to become a teacher. So really, like, your whole adult life. That I mean, we can all relate to that for sure.
Absolutely. And then to like be at a fork in the road where you have to choose between what you prior like assumed was your identity to now embracing a new identity, like you said, not crisis yet, but this shift. A kudos to you for being able to sit down and really think about what was the most prioritizing things for you and choosing that path, because it's not easy. That's not an easy decision to make.
Definitely. And it just speaks to that challenge that we all have of, like, the society needs to tell us, or is telling us that we need to do it all. And it's just really not possible. Like, I feel like you said it so perfectly that, like, something has to give. And for many of us, it ends up being ourselves, right? It's like, we give everything else to work and family, and then there's nothing left for ourselves. So I think it's like so powerful that you're prioritizing yourself and your, family. So
And I don't know if I would have had that injury, like, obviously it was awful, but I feel like it really made me reflect, like, it was literally like I physically had to stop and I was still, I had to take care of 2 boys too, and just had to do all these things and was just in pain all the time. And I hate that it happened, but with it happening, it was kind of like, okay, I have to take care of me too. Like, something else has to change here for me to be a good mom and a good wife, and maybe again, a good teacher someday.
Right. Yeah. So what did it look like prior to you making the tough decision? What did self-care look like for you pre-decision and then post-decision? Do you feel like there was a difference?
For sure. I feel like before the decision was made, it was 100% survival mode. It was, we have to get through the day, and I'm so exhausted by the end of the day that I'm done. I just want to go to bed, or I want to watch like some trashy TV, because that's the best way to unwind, right?
Nothing wrong with that.
No, we love it.
So I feel like, because as a teacher, it is so mentally exhausting. And so any teachers in the audience can definitely relate to that. You have to make so many decisions all day. And it's not just like making a lesson plan and deciding what you're going to teach. It's, can I go to the bathroom? What do I do here? So-and-so's picking on me, this and that. It's just all these little things that really build up. And then you go home to your own babies and you want to love on them, but then, they're screaming or they need something. And you're like, it's just exhausted. And it's like, well, I've got nothing to give my own family. And, I loved my students every year. I loved the group of kids that I had. But I was like, this is becoming a lot harder, and kudos to the ones that can do both, that can have their kids at home and be teachers, because it's not an easy gig. And then after I made the decision, I have joined a gym. So I'm going 2 days a week to the gym, and they have childcare. So my oldest gets to go with me. My cousin goes with me. Like, we make it a thing. And so it's like we're doing physical self-care, but also her and I get to, chat, and our kids get to play. And so it's mental self-care too. And with a full-time job, that wasn't going to happen. I wasn't going to work all day, drop my kids off, go to the gym, come home, and it's bedtime, then you've got no time with them. And so now that I've got all this time, it's like, you go to bed.
That's awesome. Do you feel with that transition from, you're a few months in now that you've been, off work, and this is kind of like would have been your summer anyway, right? So do you feel like it's really hit you yet that you're in that like stay-at-hhome mom mode, and mentally, like, are you there yet? Or do you feel like you're still preparing for, I don't know. I guess what I'm getting at is, like, have you really let yourself get into like hobbies and finding yourself? Or is it just like starting to dabble, you know?
I feel like definitely more dabbling and trying to figure out what exactly like sparks joy for me still. And I feel like you're absolutely right. It has not hit me yet, because this would be summer break, and I've had summer break with my boys before. So it's like, oh, we're just on summer break. And when August rolls around and school rolls around, it's going to be like, oh, I don't have to, right now I'd be going to get my classroom ready. And I've been starting to think, I even told my husband the other night, I was like trying to go to bed, and I was like, what should I do for writing this year? What should I do for reading this year? Like, oh, wait. I don't need to think about that. And like having that off of my plate was like, whew, I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine, planning that and doing that right now. I do plan to go back into the school and sub. And I feel like when I go to sub, that's kind of going to be when it hits me of like, oh, I don't have my own classroom. Like I am a stay-at-home mom now. And when everybody else kind of starts going back to school, I think is when it's going to hit me more. And my oldest will go to a part-time preschool program. And so I think like that will kind of shift our routines and things, and maybe open up a little bit more time for me as well. And so still trying to kind of find what's me. But I did try watercolors, have been my top. I felt like that was like, I don't know, not as frustrating as I thought it was going to be. It was like more relaxing. I was like, okay, this is what I need.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, that is fantastic. You're so like in the thick of like that. I mean, still having a 1-year-old, it's like, you're not going to have that much free time, right? But to be able to just even start thinking about that, do you have like other things that you're wanting to try especially once your older one goes to preschool? Do you have like a list of things or?
I think we're going to have to get like in the routine a little bit more. And Jack, the baby, the 1-year-old is like, Mom, I want my mom. I want my mom all the time. I want to be on you. I want to be all over your face. I want to be next to you. And so he makes it a little bit difficult to get anything accomplished, really. But with my stay-at-home time and having more time, without that full-time job, I have picked up this nice little side gig hobby. I don't know if you've heard of it, but there's a podcast. It's called The Art of Hobbyness.
Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Millennial moms trying to find self-care and hobbies,
It's really great.
We are so excited to have you on our team, Devan. And if you can't guess or you're not getting what she's getting at, she is joining our team to help us with social media. So we're super excited to have you.
So excited.
Yeah. And it's been so fun to like learn something new, but I'm enjoying it so much. Like a lot of YouTubing, a lot of Googling, a lot of text message questions. But yeah, I've taken over slowly kind of the social media side for the podcast and just having a good time with it. So you'll see Owen and Jack making an appearance soon. I made a nice little video for Instagram.
I love that. Well, here's a question I have that I'm sitting here thinking, because, I'm hearing that when you were, as a teacher and a mom, you were pretty much drained by the end of the day, and it really didn't give you a lot of time to put creativity in your life, right? And now you made a very difficult decision to be a stay-at-home mom, which is not an easy feat in itself. It's a whole different process of management, like you said. Now, instead of managing other children, you're managing your children, right? I have to imagine, not being a teacher, guessing from what you're explaining, is there is a lot of structure that comes through your day and teaching. And in that, it was hard to find time to put that creativity time, right? So then switching to being a stay-at-home mom, how are you Are you able to find structure to put creative time in that? Or is it kind of every day is different? Are you adapting, because obviously your kids have to go to the bathroom just like those kids had to go to the bathroom. Do you switch it up? How are you making that work for you?
So it's a little bit fly by the seat of my pants right now.
Okay.
If the nap gods align, and both of my children nap at the same time, then I get that time now. And I don't feel like, if I was home for a Saturday or Sunday and they both did that, I'd be like, oh, maybe I'm going to nap. Maybe I'm going to watch TV. Maybe I'm going to I'm just, I'm too spent to do anything. Whereas now I feel like, okay, they're asleep. I can maybe do some housework and then sit down and do something. Or sometimes I have to force myself to the dishes can wait or the laundry can wait. Cause what can I do when they're awake? What do I want to do when I don't have them all over me? So, I'll wait for that housework and I'm going to sit down and make a reel for Instagram or, something like that. And so it's a little bit all over the place because I just never know what those little boys are going to do. But
truly,
and sometimes in the evening time too, when my husband's home from work, he'll take them and do something and I'll have some time, but, we're at a hard age to do it simultaneously.
A lot of time, right?
Yeah, you are.
Well, and you bring up a good point about how sometimes it is just those brief little moments and taking advantage of those brief moments. It doesn't. Creativity and self-care time doesn't have to be a full hour. It doesn't have to be half a day. Sometimes it really is just embracing those little bits of minutes that you have available to you. And it sounds like your partner, Nick, is very supportive and very involved. Have you noticed a shift in him at all in what he sees from you post and pre making the decision with your career and going forward?
Yeah, I feel like he and I have talked about okay, I'm back. I was a little lost for a year. There was just so much going on, and not that I gave up, but it was just you get in this hole, mentally you're drained, physically you're hurting, nobody's sleeping, just all of these things. And I feel like since this shift has happened, I do think he's noticed okay, there's the lady I married, I'm back, I'm happier. There's still struggles. The days are still long for us right now. But hopefully he also feels like when he comes home at the end of the day, things are a little bit smoother, because it's not both of us coming home at the end of the day to chaos.
Right.
I've been in it, but being able to maybe start preparing dinner or, things like that that I couldn't before because we were getting home at the same time. Right. It was okay, unload the kids and do this and do that. And, oh, hey, how are you? Not even a time for a conversation. So I feel like it's kind of relaxed everybody in the house a little bit. So hopefully my children can feel that too because can feel that shift for sure.
It's so crazy how you said you feel like even your kids could potentially feel the energy change from you, because I feel that that's something that we recognize in my house whenever I finally started going on this hobby journey and trying to really embrace self-care. Is I didn't realize how much my tension and I'll say at times bitterness towards my husband and his self-care successes really kind of seeped out into the energy of the rest of my family in the house. And I didn't realize how much that was really weighing on everyone else. And now having, really embraced this and seeing the shift in myself, I agree with you 100%. I feel like I can see that my kids aren't as hesitant to come up to mom and be like, can I please have some cookies? It's like, no,
we're so much happier. Yes, right? So much happier. Yes.
I just am more, I don't want to say more approachable because I feel like that makes me sound like I was this terrifying mom, but I just think that the energy around me, the aura around me is just a little bit lighter. And so I think that is it's being felt by the others in my house. And I guess I do feel a little bit bad for my family, but I feel great for them now because I'm in a better place.
And I think like in some ways, like I'm envious of you a little bit. Like you're starting this journey of like prioritizing yourself so much earlier than me and Tam did.
Oh
like
my gosh.
we waited until our kids were, older. I mean, our kids are still little, but like to where we had that breathing room, we're like, wait a second, now we can take a step back. And I just feel like you're setting yourself up for so much success for yourself and your family. We talk so much about how giving yourself that self-care time truly is going to take care of everybody else. It helps you take care of everybody else so much better. Right. And I think it's just a testament to all of our listeners and hopefully like an inspiration to our listeners that the sooner the better. Sooner the better.
Yeah, don't wait.
And you probably helped prevent yourself from having like an identity crisis to some degree, because I feel like that's where I got to. Whereas like I waited too long, And so I did have a question. I wanted to go back to like your pre-kid time, like pre-kid, maybe even pre-work, like early 20, college, and then maybe when you're starting
the good
to work.
Old days.
Yeah. What kind of person were you at that point? Did you have a lot of hobbies back then, or were you real focused on work and school like me and Tam?
I feel like if people asked me if I had a hobby, like, you'd fill out like the teacher questionnaire at the beginning of the year, and I'd be like, I don't have any hobbies. Like, I feel like when I was a kid, I had hobbies, and now I'm like, I don't have any. And then I feel like, honestly, while listening to one of your episodes, and that's not just a plug from, but listening to, I think it was like the hidden hobbies one, maybe, where, you do have hobbies, but you just might not like label them as that. But I loved to travel. I got the opportunity to work abroad for a little while before I went into the classroom, and that really like, sparked something in me. And then Nick also likes to travel, and he's in the military, so it's kind of part of the job for him too. And honestly, like without those pieces, like that was kind of like what really like brought us together in, those early dating days, was kind of that like, oh, you like to travel? You like to do all these crazy things? Me too,
Yeah.
So that was then like a huge part of my identity. And then I had to shift when, okay, I can't live like a nomad forever. So then when I had to shift and be in the classroom, which when I was elsewhere, I was still working with kids. But then I had to settle, and I wanted to get married. I wanted to have children. I can't do that if I'm jet setting off to all of these places all the time. And so then I had to shift that, and then, married, shift then, and then kids. So I like can look back and see all of these shifts. And Nick and I have talked a lot too about like keeping our kids in what we enjoy. So like we enjoy traveling with children.
Yes.
We did our first trip on a plane with both of our boys, and my mom came too to help. And the kids were great, honestly. But all of the things that come with the children onto the plane, I was like drenched in sweat, ready. I think I cried 3 times before I got on the first plane. Like it was a lot. And we were like, well, we're not doing that again while they're in car seats.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot.
Like trying to kind of like remember who I was before, and then shifting to, I feel like this year I've done a lot of reflecting. Like this isn't something that like I've always thought. It's been like a lot of work that I've put into this of like, reflecting and looking at things, and, like I want my boys to see me do these things that I enjoy so that they can find things that they enjoy. And Nick is definitely like Pat, and I think your husband too, Aaron, where like he has like 1,000 hobbies, and he's always doing something. And he doesn't have that like mom guilt or intrusive thoughts. So he's like, hey, I'm going to go to the garage and work on this. I'm like, oh yeah, that's fine. You go do that. So definitely been like a shift from like where I was before, of like traveling and doing all of that stuff to where I am now.
I think it's just like we talk about how we all have these, we're in these chapters of our lives, and it's just a good to reflect on what's important to you, and then eventually know that if you want to, you will get back to that. You'll find a way to make it happen, or some version of that, right? So what were you going to say, Sam?
No, well, I had two thoughts. First, before I go into my other thought, as somebody who was Devan's roommate in college, I can tell you that actually, I think at one point in time, I was your personal hobby. I was definitely somebody who was incredibly studious to a fault in college and just did not leave the school building except for to sleep. And when I would come home, Devan would be right there to be like, you cannot live like this. You have to release some stress. Come on. And would get me out of the house. And actually, I attribute Devan a lot to a lot of my earlier visions of what it was to be like, you're going to burn out. Like, this isn't okay. And I give you a lot of appreciation for making sure I actually found time to try to discover myself in college, because I don't think I would have done it had Devan not been right there
that's
going
amazing.
like, you cannot live like this. So it's so funny how here we are. How long have we been out of college? Decade or so?
Long time.
Long time.
Yeah.
We've been out of college a long time. And here you are yet again in my life telling me to be more social as my director of social media. So it's so funny to me how it's like this big, just circle of how you're still like this support system of helping me make sure that I just get I don't let myself get in the way. So I really appreciate your friendship and that. But then I also wanted to jump back to how you talked about how you do you're doing a lot of reflecting right now, which I think is wonderful. And I think that's a great first step in trying to, progress and move forward. Are you doing any journaling with any of that? Or is it truly just a lot of like internal reflection that you're just kind of walking yourself through each day? How does that look for you?
Not journaling, but I feel like a lot of internal, but then Nick and I are pretty open with all of that too. So I feel like we have a lot of conversation about it, just like open conversation about, the transitions and the chapters in our life and things like that. And then I also have a lot of friends and family that are in this with me right now. And so, we'll send the funny memes back and forth about how, we might not survive the day and we need a gallon of coffee and things like that. But then also the deeper things too of like, recently I went out with a small group of friends, and Nick came with me and one of the other husbands was there as well. And we got home that night and I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like I just had the biggest smile on my face. I was like, I just feel like myself. Like I finally felt like it was the first time I was like going out for dinner and drinks. And I wasn't like, how are the boys? Should I check on them? Should I text? Should I it was like just such a great feeling. And like to get to kind of experience it with those friends and them kind of have the same reaction was super great too. It was like, we're all in this together,
Yeah, absolutely.
That's so awesome. Well, I guess, what do you have any, I know you're still kind of early on this journey somewhat, but do you have any tips or advice for anyone who might be in a similar situation as you, or maybe either contemplating giving up something in their life or having a transition in their life?
I am a big pros and cons list person. I feel like that's gotten me through a lot of big decisions. I did a lot of pros and cons list. This was like months of talking, and obviously the finances play a part in it too. And we're very lucky in that hopefully we can make this happen. Might be looking for a job here soon. I don't know. But just a pros and con list of like, just, you really have to think about what's important and like your day to day. So like for me, for teachers, you get the summers off, you get the holidays off, you get the weekends off. Great. That wasn't enough for me. It was my day to day that was just so chaotic to where I was taking the boys to the sitter, dropping them off and crying on my way to school just because I was so overwhelmed. And so like everything was just, it didn't matter how early I woke up in the morning or how prepared I was, something comes up, like something happens and you just feel you're so chaotic. And then, I've got 20, 12-year-olds ready for me to tell them what to do every moment for the rest of the day. And it's like, I just had to take take a minute. And so just, I guess my advice would just be take a minute and reflect and take time and just remember that these are chapters. It's not like this forever. At least that's what everyone keeps telling me, It's not like this forever. We're in a season of life. We're in a chapter of our life. And what's important right now? Like, is it important for you to get more time with your kids and stay home? Can your family make that work? Or can you go down to part-time? Or can you work from home? Or, because I looked at all of those options as well. And I guess substitute teaching kind of is like a part-time job. But I needed something really flexible. So I love my structure and routine. I didn't realize that until becoming a mom. And so I think it is going to be hard for me to be like, okay, am I subbing this day? Or, what's going on and where will I be and what classroom will I be in? So I think that's going to be a really hard adjustment for me because I would love to be like Mondays and Fridays, I'm substituting, but that's just not the reality. But it is what I need right now because I was missing so many days because one was sick. The other one was sick. I was sick. Somebody has a doctor's appointment. So, just all these things of mom life that I was like, I'm tired of orchestrating everybody else to do with my kids what I could just do myself. And honestly, it's just easier to do myself instead of finding the help everybody else to do it, and so that was kind of like that, like, okay, let's just do this. Like, this is what we need to change in our lives to make things run smoother, because right now it is about our kids and pretty soon they'll be in school and everything's going to change again. And so if you can make it for a few short years, and I was just talking to some of my cousins this weekend too, and they were like, I could never. I drop my kid off at daycare and I'm home and I work from home and I'm done. Like, and I get it. Like, and come December, maybe I'm singing a different tune. I don't know yet.
Well, that's the nice thing. Like, it doesn't have to be forever, right? This decision doesn't have to be, it's just what works right now. Like you said, it's just for a short period of time and you can always pivot again. Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah.
And I think that's important to know. Like, I like how you said that, like, life is chapters. It really is. Like, just because you're in one phase does not mean, especially if it's a phase that you're feeling a little dissatisfied with, don't allow yourself to think that this is it forever. There's opportunities to change that chapter just by doing, like what you said, doing the reflecting, doing the pros and cons list. I love that you said, like, really take down, like, what is important. Even when you're doing that pros and cons list, what is falling, like, what's the important part and which way is it falling? I think that's really great advice.
Yeah.
Well done, Devan.
It really is great advice. And just like remembering that you are a person too, like you are should be number one on that list. Right.
Absolutely.
And so like that's because if you're not taking care of yourself, like everything else is going to fall apart. Yeah.
I think that's a great message. Devan, I think you did a really great job, like giving us like a little background. And I know I can speak for me and Evan or Aaron. You're Aaron, you're Devan. But if you put you two together as a celebrity couple, you're now Evan.
There we go.
Well, I can speak for me and Aaron. We're so excited for you to be a part of our team.
Definitely.
And we know that you're going to do a great job with this chapter of your life of being a director of social media and content making for a very successful podcast, if I do say.
Well, and I really do appreciate you guys like giving me the opportunity. And I talked to Tam like, I don't know, I guess a couple months ago at this point. And like, for real, I listened to the podcast and I like learned from it. I changed from it. Like, I'm not just saying that to say it. It's, it's the truth. Like, I feel like Nick has always tried to push me to like, try this, try that, try new things, and I'd be like, oh, I don't know, I don't have time. And then kind of listening to everything of like, not only like, hey, here's some hobbies to try and here's how you can make it work as a mom, but also like interviewing people talking about self-care and the balance and the this and that, and like kind of kicking those intrusive thoughts out of the mom guilt. Like, it has helped me kind of like pivot into all of this. And it's like scary to do something new. So like, it's scary. It was scary to quit my job, and it's, scary to like, the audience isn't my friends and family anymore, like, so it's like, oh, I've got like, Tam and Aaron's name on this. I want to make sure it looks great. And then like, I want to make sure all these like strangers that I don't know yet are like happy with what I'm doing. So like, I've like kind of helped me push out of my comfort zone, you know?
Yeah. Yep. No, we can definitely relate to that.
We really can, and I appreciate so much. And it makes me feel so good to hear that, like that our podcast influenced you in a positive way, because that's really what Aaron and I are trying to do, is trying to make sure that we realized really early on that we weren't the only ones that felt this way, and so we thought maybe if we kind of put ourselves out there, it would encourage others to do the same. And so to hear that you're somebody who did benefit from that message and are joining us, we're so fortunate.
Yeah.
It actually. I'm trying not to cry, because it's just, not only did the message get out there, but it also got out there to somebody I really care about, my college roommate, and it just feels so gosh darn good to say how Aaron would say it. So we're very grateful to you, and we're so glad that you were on our show today, and we really appreciate you taking the time. I know you're so busy with your babies.
Yes,
they're probably trying to pound on the door now. Come on.
Yeah. Oh, I shipped them off to Grandma and Grandpa's.
Nice.
Good for you.
They're gonna need a nap, so I'll come back in a few hours after they nap.
Good for you. Yeah, awesome.
I love it. Well,
so it actually got me like a whole afternoon.
Oh,
yay!
Nice.
That's amazing.
Good job,
That's
Mama.
the best. Yeah.
Gosh, well, thank you so much again, Devan, for being on our show. Yep. And obviously, like we said, you can always figure out a way to contact Devan if you ever wanted to, just by simply reaching out to the Art of Hobbyness, as she's a new member of our team. And is there anything else that you wanted to know before we let you go today, Devan?
I don't think so. I just really appreciate you guys, listening to my story and having me on here and having me as a part of the team. And hopefully we can continue reaching out to moms and whatever stage they're at.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you for joining us today, everyone. Take care.
Yep. Bye.
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 Thank you for listening to The Art of Hobbyness. Be sure to subscribe and leave a review. And for more Aaron and TM fun, be sure to follow us on all socials for behind-the-scenes footage on our journey to find hobbyness.